Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. Excited to talk to y'all today about our brand new special teams coach, tight ends coach, Mr. Jay Boulware, formerly of the Oklahoma Sooners as a running back coach. And most importantly, it's a homecoming for Coach Boulware, former Texas Longhorn player and graduate. It's back on the 40 acres. We're excited to have him here. The staff is nearly complete. We're only one coach away from having a full staff for the 2020 season. We're going to get into all the things I'm excited about with this hire. But first, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Boss's Ranch, taking care of us as always, sponsoring our video content here. Guys, you can check them out. HEB Cold Produce, best darn ranch in Texas. I swear by this Red River Ranch flavor. Links in the description below. Great fun content as well, promoting their products, HEB Cold Produce. And while you're there at the links, make sure you follow us on all social media accounts. Instagram, we're 30 people away from 1,000. We'd love to get there, so help us out. Give us a follow, like, share, subscribe. Appreciate everybody that's joining the Fanatic Perspective movement. Now, Jay Boulware, this was one of those where we went out and the way that this staff is coming together is very, very interesting. The variety of places Tom Herman has gone to put the staff together, and now we go again within the Big 12, five consecutive times. Matthew, by the way, Matthew's back. Happy New Year, brother. That's why the videos look. He said, "Elko." That's why the videos are already looking better, right? So, getting back in the conference, 5-time consecutive champions, Oklahoma Sooners. Let's go poach their staff, right? And we do this with Stan Drayton. It's funny with running back coaches. I feel like there's some folks out here who just feel like the position of a running back coach doesn't carry much value if you're not recruiting like gangbusters. And I've heard some of the same things from some of the OU fans who were like, "Oh yeah, Jay Boulware, he can go. He's just a running back coach. We'll keep it moving." And you see this, I'm not even going to go beyond that, Matthew. But what I am going to say is this. A former Texas Longhorn, a player who understands the importance, the landscape of this university. I think it is important to have a coach like that on the staff, especially when you're talking to the young men and out there in recruiting. He can relate very, very well in terms of what they'll expect and what it's like, and the pressure, the expectations, the good, the bad, the ugly. The other thing, when you're coming from OU and the success they've had, he will be able to give us not only an audit, but a look into where we're coming up short as a program, why OU has dominated this conference, certain insights he's had into other opponents around the Big 12 landscape, and things that we can implement to ultimately end OU's streak and develop our tight ends, develop our special teams. They've had good special teams over at Oklahoma, something that we're striving to have here at Texas. I like the brain trust from a special teams perspective, because I notice he's associate coach of special teams, which is kind of a weird title to me. And then we got, obviously, earlier Coleman Hutzler and Andre Coleman, guys who also have extensive special teams backgrounds, as does our head coach Tom Herman. So you now have 4 people on staff, just off the top of my head, who have extensive special teams experience, have been special teams coordinators, or were NFL kick returners. I'm curious to see how exactly that shakes out. But what I do expect, and I think all of us should have this expectation, we will be buttoned up. We will have attention to detail on special teams, and it will be something that is now a strength, not a weakness of ours, when we look at the 3 facets of these football games. So in terms of what he brings to the table as a tight ends coach, look, I know he's been coaching running back since 2013 at Oklahoma. He has a diverse background coaching various positions. He played offensive line for us in college. He actually was a GA, transitioned over to tight ends. He coached tight ends for Auburn when they won the national championship in 2010. Those of you who remember the late Philip Lutzerkirchen was one of their signature players during that run, catching clutch touchdowns at Alabama, and God rest his soul, he was coached by Jay Boulware. Jay Boulware then transitions to coaching offensive tackles and ultimately running backs. So I like the position versatility in his background. When you look at our tight end group, we have an interesting, group with a lot of potential, I feel like, but not the most production. You look at a K Brewer, who is very talented but been banged up. Somebody that I think we've had almost underutilized since he's been here when he came out of Lake Travis. What can Jay Boulware squeeze out of a Reese Laytow? Can he continue to develop a Jarrett Wiley? I like the way Jarrett Wiley finished the season as he changed positions and transitioned from quarterback. He came out of Temple, quarterback to tight end, and was actually one of our more physical blockers down, whether it was Tech and into the bowl game. I'd like to see some of that, development continue, and I think his background with offensive line play and just getting them more incorporated within Yursic's offense is key. That's the other thing too. How all these guys look under Mike Yursic's offense and fitting there, because we will see the return of H-back. We will see the return of more, relevant, pass-featured tight ends. I believe it within our scheme, but these guys have to show the potential. Even a guy like a Braden Liebrock that we got out of Arizona, who was an Under Armour All-American just a year ago. We got to squeeze out the potential and the production. Potential needs to become production is what I should say, right? But when you look at big picture, and the thing I also want to hit on is, I've talked about this on the Java Live video. I talked and when we hired Andre Coleman. Guys, relationships and player development, that is what Tom Herman is focused on here, okay? Look, Jay Boulware can come into the room and say, hey, I've coached guys that have gone to the league, right? When you look at OU's running backs and folks. And the other thing too is when we talk about recruiting, because I've hit on recruiting a little bit with his player experience and also coming from his background as a national champion at Auburn as well as Oklahoma. But he's also from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We need those DFW ties. That's why on the previous video I made, I was kind of, lobbying for Joey McGuire, who still might be a possibility as the second defensive line coach. We'll see. I don't think he'll leave Baylor, but that one of the reasons why I was so hardcore after Joey McGuire was the DFW ties within recruiting. We get that with Jay Boulware. We already see him on the road out there recruiting, and I'm excited. I like some of the social media content I've seen. They're in homes. We had a big Texas Day event this past weekend. We saw, some of y'all saw Landon Jackson there at the basketball game against Kansas. RIP Texas basketball. Those of you who saw my Shaka Smart video, I didn't mean to be that emotional, but damn it, it's time. But anyway, that's a separate topic, Matthew. Jay Boulware, though, and the way this staff is coming together, I also like the diversity within this staff. I think that the diverse backgrounds, racial makeup, age makeup. We have some veteran coaches. We have some young coaches. We have some new, refined energy on the staff. I think they'll be able to relate to these players better on a personal level. These are things that I feel like we have struggled with to some degree here. Not with all of the coaches, but having some of that consistency. So I'm very, very pleased. I like what I'm seeing already with even Chris Ash out there recruiting hard. So when you get a staff together like this, and the proof will be in the pudding when the season starts. We can say we like all these hires. They all sound good, right? But, if they come out and they get off and they get smacked in the mouth in Baton Rouge, we're going to be feeling some type of way, right? So we need this stuff to work right away. But I also will say this: the added versatility within these coaches, the fact that, hey, Stan Drayton has been, approached several different times for opportunities. We now have a guy who's coached running backs. He could be potential insurance for Stan Drayton. Let's be honest, right? Tom Herman talked all the time about wanting to develop coaches who want to be head coaches one day or come from a championship pedigree. Now we have a coach like that on our staff. We have other coaches. Stan Drayton, two-time national champion. Tom Herman's a national champion. Chris Ash, a national champion. But having that championship pedigree, we have a guy who has recent hot success. I'm excited to have Jay Boulware on staff. You guys let me know how you feel about the hire. Texas X, DFW recruiter. He used to be the enemy. Now he's one of us. Once again, homecoming for Mr. Jay Boulware. Excited to have him on board. Guys, go get your Boss's Ranch and make sure you subscribe and like the next videos, all of our videos, so you can also get on the notification squad. Make sure you hit the notifications as well. Appreciate y'all. Horns always up.